Hi again, let's continue this parse discussion here. So in the last video, I set up the comment form and we set up a table in Parse, okay, to receive comments. So how do we comment on a product now? So let's go to our HTML here, and I've created the comment form here, and I've given IDs to these elements, and this hidden field is going to be a key element here because it's going to contain the ID for the product that we want to comment on. And when you add a comment, we want that comment specifically tied to a very specific item in our other table. Okay, in the I'm calling it the product table, but it's actually called test object, right? Okay, so how do we get the ID in here? Well, down here, I've got these products. I can get them all here with get products, and then I've got this display product thing that loops through all the products and displays them on the page. That was covered in the earlier video, right? And then I've got this function here called get product for ID. And if we test the site now, what's happening is when I click on a product here like Junkie, it puts the details for that product up here, like the name and the price, right, in this detail view. And at that time, what I want to do is I want to assign the ID for this product to the invisible or hidden input field here for this form, okay? So how do I do that? Well, right here, I've got the name and the price that I'm displaying in the detail view, right, for product details. And what I want to do is I also want to get the ID. So I'll say ID equals product data, bracket I, so item I dot ID. Now you'll notice if you're going to get any of the other properties or values out of a parse object, you're going to do get and then the name, okay, in quotes. For ID, this is a special field. You can just get it directly by using the name ID. You don't have to use get, okay? So now that we've got the ID, how do we put it into this hidden field up here, right? So the hidden field is comment product ID, right? So what we'll do is we'll say $, comment product ID dot val. So we're using jQuery and we're using the val method, which lets you access the value of an attribute, or the value. In this case, it's actually the value of the value attribute of a form element. Okay, so this is the value for that form element. If it's an input field, this is what you would have typed into the field. Since it's a hidden field, you can't type into it, but this will still be the value of it, right? And so what I want to put in there is I want to put in the ID. Okay, so let's save that and we'll give it a test. So right now, in the last time when I clicked on a product, if I look at my form, you can see that the hidden field, is just, there's no value on it. Let's refresh and then click on like mental floss. Okay, and now you can see that the input field, this is the product or comment product ID, is type hidden, and it's got a value, and this is the ID for mental floss in our parse database, right? So well, let's just check it to make sure. So it's DJ4HN, right? So if I switch over here and I go to the test object table and I look up DJ4HN, and look, it's mental floss, okay? So if we wanted to comment on mental floss, we'll want that DH4N or whatever it was to show up in this field right here, or this column, okay? So we're pretty good so far, right? And now how do we submit the form? So let's imagine you've added, a product up here, and now you want to comment on that product and submit the form. So let's do that. Let's add this. Maybe I'll just put it all the way at the bottom here, okay? So what I want to do is I want to do $, use the ID for the comment form here, and then say submit. Okay, so this jQuery method sets up an event that listens for a submit event on a form. So when a form is submitted, it'll call this function for us. Okay, and we'll handle that event by, putting a function here to, with a block of code in it that will be executed when you submit the form. Okay, I'm going to put the event variable here to catch the event object for this submit event. So when the event occurs, then this will the event object has some features in it that let you, kind of analyze the event that just occurred. Okay, so here's our setup. Select the form, add a submit action to it. This function's going to handle that submit action. In other words, that function's going to be executed when the form is submitted. And then this variable is going to catch the event object for that submit event, right? Okay, so here, what do we want to do? So the first thing I want to do is I want to say event prevent default. Okay, and what this is going to do is it's going to prevent the default behavior of submitting the form, which essentially is like to refresh the browser or to go to another page. And I don't want to do that. I want to stay on this page. Okay, and then what I want to do is I want to create an object to save to Parse. Okay, and we're going to do pretty much the same thing we did in the add product form up here, right? So we're doing the same thing: submit, function event, right? Event prevent default, and then we'll create a new object, add some properties, and then submit it, okay, or save it. So let's do it. Let's say var, and we'll say, how about comment, because this is the type of object we want to create, and we'll say parse object, not is object, object dot extend, just like we did up here, and then we'll say comment. Now what's key is this needs to be exactly the name of our table. If not, it'll actually end up creating a new table, right? So since I already created one and I want to use that one, then I got to make sure this name matches, right? So we'll do that. And now we want to create the actual comment object that we're going to send to the server. And I'm going to do it with the same name, comment, but notice this is lowercase comment with a lowercase c. So that's a different name than the uppercase c, okay? So then we'll say new uppercase comment like this. And that'll create a new empty parse, object that's type comment, okay? Now we should add some properties to our comment. So I'm going to say comment.set, and then the properties I want to set are maybe, the name, right? Because that's the name of our, of the person making the comment, right? And that's the name of the field here. Let's arrange this so we can see them, right? And then I want to set the value of name to the value of of the field where someone's going to type their name in. So it's going to be comment name, if I recall. And then to get the value of the field, we'll just do val again. So this is going to get you the value from the comment name input element. And let's do comment set. What is it? We have text here, so let's do the text, right? And we'll say comma, $, comment text dot val. Okay, so that gives us the value from the comment form in the text. Let's check, right? So comment name is going to be this field, comment text is going to be this field, and now we want to get the value here for the comment product ID, which is going to go in this column here, right? So we'll say comment dot set, and then we want to say product, right? And we want to get the ID there, so I'm going to say comment product ID, right? .val. Okay, and then we'll do, what do we need to do here? Yeah, we need to do object save, right? So we'll say comment.save, and we'll follow the same procedure we did before. We'll use an object. Success colon is a function, comma, error colon is another function, and the success function is going to receive an object in return, right? So it's going to give us the object that we sent, right? So we can just put anything here, and then maybe I'll add a line return there. And then the error is going to give us the model object and an error. So we'll say model error like this, okay? And then if we had some success here, we will, we can maybe console log that to the console, right? So we'll say comment save success, right? And then down here we can say console log, and then maybe we'll do comment save error message, right? Okay, so so we'll save that, right? And then we'll give it a test. Now we might have to modify this, right? So you'll just have to see what happens, right? So we'll save that, right? And we've got everything kind of aligned here, right? And then we'll refresh our page there, right? I'm going to open up the console so we can save. We can see what the save results are going to be. And let's say I want to add, you know, a record to, you know, mental floss, right? So I'll post it here, and I'll type in my name of Sam, and then I'll type in a comment here. Great stuff, and then I'll hit submit. Oh, I got a bad request, right? So it says type for key product expected a test object but got a string. Okay. So my problem here is that when I create the ID here, I'm getting a string value, but this is a pointer, remember, to another object. So remember that we set this to a pointer. It's not just a simple string. It's actually a pointer to something in the test object table. So what we need to do is we need to do one extra step for something like that, okay? And what we want to do is we want to create a new test object and set the ID of that test object and then send that up. So we'll do this. We'll say var, I'm actually just going to call it a product because that's what I used up here. I guess I used test object up here. Maybe I should use that again. So what we're going to do is var test object. So we're going to make the, you know, the class here, and it'll be parse dot object extend test object. And then what I want to do is I'm going to say var test object equals new test object, right? And then we'll set one property on this object, and it'll be the ID. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to say test object dot set ID, comma, and the ID that I want here is this value that we got from the table. So I'm going to cut that out of here like this. And then the last step here is I want to put the test object here as, let me make a little bit of space there actually. Let's write it like this, right? Okay. So here I set the name of the text, but now for the ID, I'm going to make a new instance of the test object class, make a new test object, right? Set the ID on the test object to the ID from our input field, the hidden field, right? And then we'll, set the product field, which is the pointer to the test object table, to an actual bona fide test object with the ID that we want. Okay, and then we'll save our new comment. Okay, so now let's take a look here. Let's refresh this. We'll go to mental floss again. We'll type in some name here, Sam, and then we'll say, great stuff, and we'll submit. Oh, comment save success. So now let's see, if I go to the parse table here and I refresh this, you can see that Sam, added his comment to the table, and then, here's the text of his comment, and then this points to mental floss. Okay, so there we go. So that's how to add comments there, right? So this would work with our comment form and create a new comment object, and our comment objects would now be related to objects in the test object table. Okay.